Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Labor Day, Monday, September 1st, right here on Jox. Listen online, joxfm.com. Apps in your app store, get it there. 94.5 in Birmingham. Tell your home smart speaker enable the Jox skill. The Higginbotham hotline is going to be open all day today. 800-239-9569. 800-239-WJOX. G-Mac and I are going to try to make sense of some things for you. Talk about the first week one of college football this season. I don't know how many games we're going to get to because I have a feeling we're going to focus in on one. You had a great one last night, Greg. We'll hopefully get to that one at some point. You're in the airport. I'm in Charlotte. Read and React tonight on the SEC Network. Should also be interesting. Let's just start with your main takeaways from Alabama's loss to Florida State. What did you view as most problematic for how and why this took place?
Well, they weren't the better team by any stretch. I think the biggest and most challenging thing for me to watch from our vantage point was the lack of effort by certain players. That was really disappointing. There were a couple routes run by wide receivers where they didn't run full speed. They were just going through the motions. There were a couple players in the back end defensively going through the motions, not straining all the way through the final whistle. There were a lot of loafs in the game. That was what was problematic. I know where you're going with it, and some of that shows up a little bit as well. I think it's hilarious how many people are trying to pin it on Ty. If you try to pin that performance on Ty, you don't know ball. I mean, I thought he battled. He was one of just a handful of guys that really played his heart out and battled and did everything he possibly could. And I'm amazed at how many people are trying to make it about him. There's a lot of guys on this team, man, that just didn't give max effort, and they only have themselves to blame. I don't know why they were fatigued or why they were a step slow or what the circumstances were, but the players need to look themselves in the mirror after that performance, because there were a lot of moments where it just wasn't what it needs to be from an effort standpoint. I can live with getting beat. I just can't live with not giving max effort on every single play.
Yeah, you and I have spoken about this, and so I gave you kind of an idea of where my head is and what I saw as most problematic. And the things you mentioned have to be towards the top of that list. There's no doubt about it. There's some low-hanging fruit online that I think people are going to point to one or two guys and say this is the reason this took place. But I with what I saw, I think it's further past what some people are showing online and what some people are making their focal point, and I think it's much more problematic. I'm with you. There are a couple of guys that I just want to first off. Jeremy Bernard, I thought played his rear end off. I thought Parker Brailsford played one of the better games I've ever seen him play. Honestly, I mean, I thought the kid fought. I thought he technically, fundamentally, I don't think I saw him have a true loss in the game. I think there was one time maybe trying to work a double team or something. The guy may have slipped through. But there were a couple of guys that I just want to make it clear that did get out there and do the things needed to do to win a football game. That did happen, and they deserve a little bit of praise also for doing things right. But I wanted to give you the opportunity first to just go out and say kind of what you saw, how you saw it, and maybe what was most disappointing to you, because there are multiple things I think we're going to point to. But for me, Greg, it's been a long time since I saw what I saw in an Alabama uniform over the weekend. It has been a decade plus, because I feel like the program, specifically the defense, has hung their hat on certain things. And obviously flying to the football is part of that. Playing hard, part of that. But there's been a staple of how business has been handled that when you put the film on, it's the way it's been. And it's always been something that when you saw another team do it that way, it also immediately came to mind. Like, ooh, look, that's how Alabama does it. Strikes with the hands, sheds the defender, or guard tries to walk up to a linebacker, puts him in his place right there, sheds him, goes, makes a play. And the things that happen near the line of scrimmage to me, and it's not just O-line, D-line. Some of it, running back going up on a safety, running back going up on a linebacker, tight end on a linebacker, receiver on a safety. Things I haven't seen in a decade. Don't know when the last time that I saw it like this. And when defensive line can't get their hands on somebody, and hold them in their place and move them away. Sometimes you're not that guy. Not every guy's Jonathan Allen. I get that. I understand that. But Greg, I haven't seen a Mike linebacker at Alabama not step up in the hole and deliver a blow to an offensive lineman that had a one-on-one path to him and they both knew what was coming in quite some time. I haven't seen a linebacker have an opportunity to stop a running back one-on-one in the hole on 4th and 1 and go 2 yards backwards in quite some time. I haven't seen safeties with full run downhill on a running back as a lead blocker not be the one that delivered the blow there. And what I came away from this game with was, for the first time in maybe 10, 12 years, Alabama was the absorber in that football game. And I haven't seen Alabama absorb for 4 quarters since when I can remember. I can't remember the last time. Honestly, can't. And it doesn't sound like as big of a deal as when people post 18 not running down after a play. Or it doesn't sound as like a big deal when, a guy has a chance to go make a tackle and he dives past him. But I think this is 10 times more alarming because this has been the staple of the program, specifically on that side of the ball, is that physically there has been nothing you can do about it. You may be faster, you may be taller, you may be more athletic, but by God, when it's one-on-one and it's me versus you, we're going to put you in your place. And there were opportunities for that to take place, and it didn't. And it's turning the shoulder on a blocker and going down in front of him, turning your back to the football. I haven't seen an Alabama defender turn his back to the football in maybe since the 90s. And those are the things, Greg, because that, to me, that's your DNA. That's the foundation for your home. That's where things – you don't even bring the supplies over yet until that part is built and laid. And I'm very concerned about getting that part of it back. There's not a team meeting that gets that back. There's not an extra workout that gets that back. There's not punishment runs that get that back because that's your personality. That's your makeup. We don't go coach that in fundamentals. We don't go to our individual period for 5 minutes and get that figured out. So I know it's along similar lines of what you saw, but I personally am much more concerned about those things and how they arrive back and how you get those things back, because I don't know if you can be close to what you've been if you don't have that part of it omnipresent, because it's been there for so long.
Yeah, I think part of it, though, my concern there is that the personality of the players themselves. Like, who's the violent killer? I mean, honestly, and that I think is something that I really am curious about. Like, who is the player defensively, and who's the collection of players? Because once upon a time, there was a collection. I mean, who's the killer? Who is the guy that plays with the remarkable violence, that just wants to inflict violence on every snap? I don't know who it is. Like, I mean, I think we all watch Deontay Lawson, and we watch Jefferson, and we watch other players at the second level defensively, third level defensively. Like, I love the guys. I think they're good kids. I do. I just want to know who's the guy that's going to actually bring the pain, like some of the linebackers of yesteryear, right? Like, who's the tone setter? That's what I'm having a hard time understanding. And I think, look, the players have to take some ownership here a little bit too. Like, they need to play with more violence. Can the coaches help them? Sure. I think so to an extent, and I think they do need to have some tough conversations defensively, because this is now a comparable game plan that's gotten them 3 times in the last 10 games. So I do think they need to have some tough conversations defensively about what do we want to be, what do we want to do structurally, foundationally. Why is it that misdirection constantly kills us? Why is it that quarterback run has given us a lot of fits? Why have we struggled at times on 3rd down? All those things are 100% fair. The only thing I'd say here, and this is not trying to spin it in a certain direction or another, I think some of the conversation right now that is going on is absolutely ridiculous. Whereas I heard somebody not that long ago, I was doing ESPN radio yesterday, saying that Bama will play 8 teams on their schedule better than Florida State. I don't know about that, man. I think Florida State might be a little more real than a lot of people are giving them credit for. So I'm hoping that's the case. Like, I'm really praying that's the case, because if not, then that's going to make stomaching that loss a little bit worse. But I just think that this Florida State team might actually be pretty legit. And the performance was pretty dang impressive from their quarterback, was pretty dang impressive from their defensive line, and they just flat out got after them. So I'm hoping Florida State's legit. That would help me ease my concerns. But at the end of the day, you need more violent players. I mean, you do. You need more violent players, and I don't know where those guys are, because I'm not sure it's in the DNA of some of these guys right now that are on the field.
And it's fair. I will say, and again, we're not here to just crush kids or bash kids. I think you get a little bit of it from 20. I think you get a little bit of it from 23. 22's got some. 22's got some in him a little bit. I think 23 is the most violent of those. You don't see him out there as consistently, and he's just not in that position to do it as much as some other guys do. And this is where maybe some of this, Greg, is just you and I mention this all the time when we talk about DBs at LSU, or we had this conversation about running backs at LSU in the preseason, where everybody told us, well, this guy's going to be fine, or this guy's going to be okay. And it's like, but we're used to this, though. Like, I'm used to Leonard Fournette and Kevin Falk and Cecil Collins. Like, I'm used to Darius Geis kind of being on the low end of an LSU running back, and he was an awesome college football player. Like, most teams would have loved to have had him in his skill set. Maybe part of this is, you mentioned some of the guys, that Reggie Ragland and, Reuben Foster and C.J. Mosley and Rolando McClain kind of ruined it for us. Maybe Jonathan Allen and Quinton Williams and those guys ruined it for us. But when I see a guard with a clean track up to the linebacker and he's not humming, like he's not going out there to try to dent somebody's face mask, he's kind of tiptoeing, I'm used to seeing that helmet on film jerk back. And people listening might not know what that is, but you are very familiar with it because you've seen it like I have. And it's a little, all of a sudden it's just bah! And it's like the feet come off the ground for a second, and that 310, 15-pounder has to do a complete body reset because he doesn't know it just hit him. And then the ability to get off of that person and go make the play is a little bit easier, and that's what usually happens. But to duck and turn your shoulders and attempt to circumvent that human or not really want to take that human on, that's foreign to me when I watch that team with those colors on play this sport. I'm not used to seeing that. I'm not used to seeing a safety not be able to handle a running back climb up on him as a lead blocker. That's not familiar to me. I'm not used to seeing a hybrid, lighter, sleeker, I'll just say undersized tight end decleat a linebacker on sort of a half crackback. I'm not going to say like a full illegal crackback. Like
no, it was a clean block. I thought. I didn't think it was dirty.
Okay, well then
Did you think it was dirty?
No, but I think some people are pointing in that direction, which whatever. I'm glad you pointed it out. I didn't think it was an ugly block. I thought it was clean. I thought he had his front numbers where he could see them, and that's usually kind of the telltale. Like, can you see the front of his jersey? Yes. Okay, take the block. And those things, I'm not used to that. And like, this is another story. Like, I'll be interested to kind of find out this weekend because I've got Alabama this weekend. Like, I thought the linebackers looked incredibly light. And I don't understand if that's maybe, trying to play a different style, if that was intentional. I don't know. I don't know what they even weigh right now. But they just looked light, like too light almost, and then played light, really and truly. I thought the defense overall, minus 2-3 guys, 80-90% of the time, they played light. And when you got a team that wants to come at you the way that they did, and I'm going to give Malzahn credit. I'm going to give Thomas Castellanos credit. I'm going to give that offensive line credit. They didn't play light. They didn't. Thomas Castellanos is a dog, man. Like, he attacked every conflict defender that was there where most guys would want to avoid. Most quarterbacks in that spot might say, okay, he's the unblocked defender. I'm going to stay away from that. Or, oh, he's going to be in my throwing lane. I better get around him. I felt like, Greg, he went right at it. Wherever there was a question and wherever there was a point where he needed to sort of be the guy, he just kind of said, screw it, man. And, like, he attacked it head on. That's how his game looked to me when I watched it. And I don't think Alabama's a team built to come from behind right now. It's just not who they are. And it's the sad part is I'm watching that first drive and I'm thinking, man, this is the O-line Gregan I thought we might get. Like, this is it. I mean, they've got double teams going 6-7 yards off the line of scrimmage. They're pushing guys around. Like, okay, we thought Grubb was going to come in and say we're going to impose our will on people, and it looks like it's happening. And then that kind of disappeared. You know, Greg and I tried to warn you guys all off season with this whole first overall pick stuff that was bogus, and don't do it and don't fall for it. You missed 2 consecutive spring practices. You saw what happened in the game. Like, and look how big. That doesn't mean you're the number 1 overall pick. It doesn't. So there were some things that are disappointing, man. I don't know if they're going to be able to just get past it right away. I don't know if it's something that can even be repaired. But the thing that you pointed out first off, the things that I'm pointing out, maybe they can't. Maybe it's just different, and we got to get used to that. The things you pointed out, those are the things that you can go in and say, all right, are you ready to dig deep and make a change and make things different and be a different player? Because if so, that can absolutely be different this week and the next week and the next week and the next week. And if that doesn't happen first, all the other stuff we're going to talk about, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can control. Like, I can live with getting beat and getting punched in the face from time to time. Like, I can live with that. That's fine. Like, we'll do our best to get addressed, but like, I can control effort. But here's the biggest concern. There's 2 things also that kind of stand out to me. Back in the day, and I hate referencing back in the day, because guess what? The circumstances of building a roster nowadays are completely different. Like, you can't stockpile talent like you once did. Anyone that and Kirby Smart's referenced it, said, well, we don't have the competitive depth we once had. Like, this is not some indictment on the staff, and it's not some indictment on the roster. No, it's just nobody's roster is as deep as it once was, or at least the best teams, nobody's roster is deep. People aren't willing to wait 3 years to play for Nick Saban. People are transferring out if they don't get a chance to play, and it just is what it is. So going back to what we were talking about, looking at the competitive depth, if you don't strain your gut and give max effort, you're out in the day. Like, you don't play. You get replaced immediately. Why? Because the next man up will give max effort. So we never, ever, ever, not one time was it ever about effort. Ever. Because it was not even a conversation point. It was purely performance. We know we were getting effort. That was something that we never took for granted. We knew we were getting that. But now, is the competitive depth, is the gap between the starters and the backup so significant that you can't replace the starter with the backup because the backup is nowhere near as good? I don't care how good. I don't care if you're the best wide receiver in America. You play like that on Saturday, next man's up. In my opinion, like that's the way it should be. And
it gives you a better chance to win. It doesn't matter athletic skill, ability, height, catch radius, speed. Doing things the way they need to be done are what gives you the best chance to win. I mean,
100%. Like going my quarter as a quarterback, if my receiver's not running 100%. If my receiver's not running the right angle, not actually looking for the ball, going through the motions, gliding through routes, guess what? Like, get him out, coach. I don't want him in there. I need to know where my guys are going to be. And while this guy might not be as talented on the high side, that's fine. I don't care. At least he's going to be where I need him to be. So that, I think, is a problem. And then lastly, this is now 2 years in a row. This team gets really, really tight quick. Like, there needs to be, and I think it's among the fan base too. Like, everybody's like, so they press so much and they care. Like, I really believe they care, and I think that's a good quality. They care as much as they do. Everybody needs to collectively relax on that field. I don't care about the fan base. I really don't. Like, the fan base is gonna hate you no matter what. I got booed in my own stadium. Like, that is what it is. It doesn't matter. You need to focus. I'm talking to the players here. Like, you need to focus on taking care of each other and don't let the outside noise impact the performance. You could tell they got tight in a hurry. The second things, as soon as Thomas Castellanos hit the third down the right sideline, it was like, ugh, like tight. And I just think they need to calm down a little bit. Because, man alive, they get tight in a hurry. They did last year, too. You look at the Georgia game, second half, things got tight. Panic mode. Things got tight. Every time something kind of doesn't go their way, they get so tight, and it impacts their performance too. So that's something that I think they can just collectively adjust and collectively get better. And that's not exclusive to the players. I think the coaches get tight. I think everybody gets tight because the pressure is so immense. So just need to calm down and relax, and not allow the outside noise to kind of affect how the team performs.
And I don't know how much of that can be corrected in 1 week, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but there are obviously a lot of corrections that need to be made, and a lot of things that can be done that can be repaired quickly. Um, we look back at some of the guys that are dinged up right now: running back, defensive tackle. I didn't think Keenan was going to be a giant need in this game, and turns out they probably could have used him because there was a little bit more between the tackles than I thought that they were going to get in this matchup. I thought Gus would probably try to live on the perimeter, and some of the you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Greg. Some of the misdirection stuff, like it's linebackers looking completely lost, edge defenders completely lost over and over. Similar plays, just a different read on a different defender, and comes right back at you and lost again. It's some of those cleats being in concrete a couple of times on certain plays. You had an idea what was going to be there and what it was going to look like, and hadn't been able to make those adjustments. It's just hard to imagine that some of the similar things can continue to show up the way that they have and continue to be a problem. That heat's going to show back up in Alabama. You can count on that. It'll be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years. They're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist to you at Trane.com. It's hard to stop a Trane. 800-239-9569. You give us your thoughts on Alabama's loss. Where does it go from here? You tweet in at Mac and Cube. We'll get to all those and more next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. Discuss Alabama's loss to Florida State over the weekend. When we look at some of the issues and what was most problematic, Greg, what do you think can be repaired quickly? What do you look at from the mistakes that were made, the issues that you saw, that you say, yes, this can be repaired. This can be different this upcoming week in the next few weeks more quickly than some of the other concerning things we brought up in the first segment?
I think the number one thing that can be repaired is just, hey, at max effort, boys. Like, I know it's hot, I know it's humid, I know it's challenging. First game, gassed, tempo team, giving you a lot of looks, a lot of the same stuff that frustrated you last year. You got it again, right? Like, Gus had an entire offseason to implement an offense that looked very similar to what Vanderbilt was doing with misdirection. So hey, let's just control our effort. We got to be able to control our effort. That's probably number one. Number two, I think it's just relax. Relax. Like, this whole talk about, like, we're going to restore the Alabama glory. Like, stop it. Like, we're already, as a former player, let me speak from my vantage point. I'm already proud of you guys chose Alabama. Like, I'm proud that you play for Alabama. I think it's a phenomenal place to play college football. I love it. It's where I went to school. I'm proud of each and every one of those guys. Don't worry about living up to the, quote, Bama standard. Like, remove that. You're not 2016 Bama defense. You're not. Be the best version of you. Like, just relax, calm down. Don't be so tight. Don't be so... When you're tight, you can't move. And when you can't move, you're a step slow. When you're a step slow and you're trying to be perfect. Like, these guys truly care. I think they're good kids. I do. But there needs to be some freedom. There needs to be some release. There needs to be some relax, just a collective woo-saw. Relax. That, I think, can be cleaned up. That can be figured out immediately. That's number one. Number two,
collective
effort.
woo-saw?
Woo-saw. Just woo-saw.
Okay.
Just
all right.
Go do some breathing exercises. Woo-saw. Relax, man. Enjoy playing football at Alabama. Like, this talk of championships, this talk of all this stuff, like, just enjoy playing football. All right? Don't worry about what's been. Don't worry about what was. Don't worry about the standard and all this stuff. Like, you be the best version of you. All right? And just relax. Two, play your freaking tail off. Like, I don't care if you make a mistake. These guys are constantly trying not to make mistakes. They're scared to death to make a mistake. They're freaking out all the time. Just fly around. Like, when that ball is snapped to when that whistle's blown, you better play at 100% effort. Because if you don't, you could get got. You don't take the right angle, you could get got. You don't go full speed in pursuit on the second touchdown, you could get got. Like, don't take it for granted. Like, max effort all the time. And I think that was a good lesson, a good valuable lesson to show these guys. And then those are two things that can be cleaned up immediately. I don't know what they can do about the strike yet. If it's in there, if it's not in there, we'll find out. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball as well as I was hoping they'd be able to run the ball. I don't know if that gets cleaned up overnight. I don't know. But you can absolutely control your mentality, and you can absolutely control your effort. Those two things can help you a lot, too. Because if you look at that first half against Georgia last year, that was probably the best 30 minutes we saw from Alabama football last year. Or on the road at LSU. You know what they were in those two games? Loose as can be, baby. Like, calm, relaxed, in control. And, man, it kind of flips in an instant, too, the second they face some adversity. So just those two things, that's where I'd start first and foremost before it all. The other thing I'd say, too, just a reminder for everyone that's just, canceled the season. We have seen teams like Clemson lose 34-3 in the first week of the season only to make the playoff that season. That happened last year. They got beat by 30 in the first week of the season, made the playoff. Notre Dame lost to NIU. They made the playoff. And I'm not talking about the playoff. They got to beat ULM right now. That's the next man up because they're not in a position to start thinking about the playoff. But for those that are allowed to look beyond, us as fans, us as analysts, we've seen a lot of teams take a couple weeks to kind of find themselves before they get hot and make a run. Bama was 1-1 going into week 3 2 years ago after losing to Texas at home. Made the playoff. Lost in overtime, the eventual national champion in the semifinal. So, like, all is not lost. It can be turned around. It's got to be some urgency now and the focus on what's in front of them.
All right, let's get to the phones. 800-239-9569. I want to hear from you. Casey in Union Chapel wants to chime in. Welcome in, Casey.
What's going on, guys? Y'all doing all right this morning?
Doing great,
Hey,
thank you.
Man, I really don't even know where to start. I agree with pretty much everything that y'all have said this morning so far. For me, I feel like the major problem that we have with the Bama team is just a pure lack of effort. In my opinion, I haven't watched the tape or anything like that. The entire defense, huge lack of effort. Really, the only two people on the whole team that I thought did a good job effort-wise was Bernard and Ty Simpson. I've seen a bunch of people calling for Ty Simpson, get him out of there, blah, blah, blah. I thought the kid played with tremendous heart. I thought he did a great job. I mean, that's like the toughest environment that an inexperienced quarterback can play in. With all things considered, I thought he did a good job.
Completely agree. Weather on the road, hostile environment, against a juiced-up crowd. I got Ty battled now. Like, are there things he'd like to have back? Like a couple throws? Absolutely. Who doesn't in their first start? Go back and watch Bryce Young's first start. And that was in a neutral site environment. Like, there were a couple moments where he's missing a couple throws. Like, guess what? Some of the best are going to struggle in their first start. He made a couple amazing throws in that game too, but so did Ty. So I think if for those that are concerned about the quarterback spot, all my concerns are alleviated after the performance on Saturday, to be honest with you. Like, I think there was a lot of good in that tape, and he was kind of on his own in a few different cases, by the way.
All right, appreciate the call. I'm just going to do it again, and I'll keep doing this just because I think he played that well. And maybe it's because other people didn't. And maybe you need to go back and watch it and check me on this one, Greg. But Parker Brailsford's got to be mentioned in that conversation. I thought he played his rear end off. I mean,
I think he moved him to running back after he ran down the sideline.
Recovering a fumble, breaking 2 tackles, and picking up yards. By the way,
honestly,
maybe that's pushing me over the edge here.
Giving you a chance. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that. Like, that was a potentially monumental play.
It was a stiff arm,
really
and then like a leap over a guy. It was massive. And I'm not even I wasn't even referencing it when it was in the game earlier. But you're right, that was a big part of it as well. But just in general, go back and watch him. Not just you, but anybody. If you watch that game again, 72 played really well in the middle of that offensive line. Like he played great football. Really Scott and Pinson, welcome in.
How y'all doing, guys?
Hey,
doing
buddy.
well, thank you.
Hey, about DeBoer's contract, his buyout, if y'all know. He's got a no-cause buyout. What does that mean exactly? I mean, if he's not coaching the boys up, which everything we saw on the field Saturday was due to coaching, is that cause to get out of the buyout?
I'll be honest with you, Scott. I mean, I know Kalen and I know guys on his staff. I don't think anybody's coaching half-speed effort. There's nobody coaching a linebacker to turn his backside shoulder to an offensive lineman or to a running back to not take him on. That's not real. I mean, nobody's coaching a receiver to short arm a football. That's not happening.
Or to glide
big
through
boy,
routes.
this big boy
Your
ball
best
now,
player.
Scott. This big boy ball. We're getting a lot of money to do this. We can't just blame the coaches anymore when half effort's out there. Can't do it. I know Chris K. He's not coaching offensive tackles to get beat inside. He's not doing it. It's not real. So are there some schematic things that can be adjusted? Absolutely. Are there reasons that guys' eyes are in the wrong place? Sure. We put that on coaching. Are there some things that could be done from a coverage standpoint or maybe a play calling standpoint that could have helped? All right, I'll allow that. But during the coaching on that staff, I'm going to say there's not a coach in America that is willing to put up with half-speed effort. There's not. There just isn't. So there are a lot of things those coaches want back and would want to do different. But putting the effort on the coaching staff, I don't know. I don't know how you do that because I know they're not coaching that. So now you could say take him out. All right, I'll let that be on coaching maybe. But we don't know what's next. We don't know the next guy might be half speed in practice. Well, I don't know how it looks or what it is. GMAC.
And then you got to deal with the questions after the game. Well, why did this guy not play? And you don't want to bury your guy. You know what I mean? Because
We
if
know
you
how that
take
ends.
out Ryan Williams, for example.
We get a tweet with a graphic. He's in the portal tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah. You take out Ryan Williams, he's in the portal immediately or whatever, and the coach buried him, and now the coach he's not, and now he gets used against him in recruiting, and Ryan Williams didn't play well. This is the worst he's probably played in a Bama uniform. He didn't play well. He didn't run the routes with enough intensity. I think he left Ty out to dry a couple times. You know, I mean, I think, and that, guess what? That's a teaching moment. Like that's okay. Like teaching moment. But I think anybody that's, you know, I'll just say this: if you think Kalen DeBoer is in jeopardy of losing his job here in the near term, I think that's not happening. Like $70 million is what he's owed. You can't fire a guy for cause because of performance on the field. That's not cause. You know, cause is like you do something illegal. So that ain't happening. And right now, do you want to become Tennessee of the 2010s, where you just roll coaches every 2 or 3 years? Is that good for the program? How'd it work for Tennessee? Did it work well? And now in an era of rev share where every dollar matters, like, you think it's smart to spend it on buyouts? Like, no. Like, let's be. Here's what I think is hilarious about this, is that 2 years ago, Cole and I had to sit after the USF game. That was the most disgusting Alabama tape I've ever watched in my own two eyes. Seriously. That was the worst tape I've ever seen. USF 2 years ago on the road. Was it not, Cole? Maybe the worst tape you ever watched?
It's up there.
Okay. That Bama team was 1-1 at the time. And we watched one of the worst tapes ever. And we had a come to Jesus on the following Monday and talked about, hey, let's fix it. Here's how we fix it. Here's what we need to do. Remember, we did the offensive coordinator meeting. Like, here's what we need to install. What do you like here? What do you like here? They fixed it. It can get addressed. Like, things can get addressed. The effort actually on Saturday was better than what we saw in the USF game. So that's encouraging if we're looking at it from a glass half full perspective 2 years ago. So just let's calm it down a little bit. Let's not go hot take fireball shots. This is not the show for that. Let's now just find answers to the challenges that were presented on Saturday. That's the ticket, and I think this staff can do it. I still believe in them.
All right, we're going to continue taking your calls, 800-239-9569. On the other side, tweeting at Mac and Cube. All that feedback continues after this on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Labor Day, Monday, September 1st, 8:42 where I am, 7:42 back in Birmingham where the boys are. GMAX at Hartsfield did a minute suite after working Notre Dame, Miami last night, which was a heck of a game, physical game. Fun matchup to watch. Great comeback from Notre Dame, and a great job from Mario Cristobal in Miami holding them off and being able to get that win. That was a fun matchup that we will probably spend more time on tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to get into a full breakdown of it today. Probably won't get to many other games outside Alabama and Auburn today just based on the conversation I know a lot of you want to have. But keep in mind, you can listen, joxfm.com, tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jox skill, or just grab the Jox app, and you can always tune in that way.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. They've won 5 straight national championships. I always appreciate the experience when I shop at Bill Smith. I'm a repeat customer, just like 75% of their business. It's because it's a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So take the short drive up to Coleman. You can go get yourself a GMC Sierra SLT. $14,000 off the sticker. You can get it for $53,000. You can get a Buick Encore GX. It's an economical, sporty SUV. That'll be $5,000 off the sticker. You can get it for under $25,000. I mean, those are deals you just won't find anywhere else. That's why Bill Smith sells more vehicles than anyone in the state of Alabama and the entire Southeast. So go see him in Coleman. Exit 310 off I-65, Highway 31. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, let's continue on the phones. And 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. Joe in Alabaster wants to chime in on games over the weekend. Joe, welcome in. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Morning, buddy.
All right. So now, look, Alabama fans, longtime Alabama. The only thing I have questions about is the actual toughness of the guys. They look completely soft. I'm offense, defensively, special teams, soft. I don't know any other way to put it other than just being soft. Did y'all not see that?
Well, I mean, I think we tried to describe some of that in a similar way in the first segment of the show, just saying that the things that we had grown accustomed to seeing, how linebackers approach blocks, how safeties approach blocks, how defensive linemen strike and shed, that those things are not necessarily omnipresent right now with this defense, specifically defense. Offense, you had some of it also. I thought there are more guys that at least give you a little more oomph on offense than defense right now.
I don't think there's anything wrong in saying what you said. I really don't.
Same thing. But your coaches are the same, and there's nothing that was changed from last year. You're having the same issues that you had last year. You didn't correct anything, and all we heard in the offseason was about Grubb and DeBoer getting back together. And to be honest with you, you look like you had the same offense. There was no change. So this is where I have a problem, and I think a lot of Alabama fans have, is all that hype around Grubb and DeBoer being back together, and it just fell. I mean, they fell on their face. Let's just call it what it is. Correct? I mean, that's exactly what happened. All that hype was based on what they did and what they were saying. They put hype on themselves.
I think that's fair. I think the real issue as far as the offense in this situation, 1, they could not consistently run the football. 2, I thought they abandoned the run a little too soon. 3, they were down double digits, and they had to kind of, to an extent, abandon the run. And now you got a first-time starting quarterback on the road, tough spot, down double digits. Like it's hard to pin the blame on the offense. If you want. Don't get me wrong, the offense can shoulder some of the blame. I'm not trying to let them off the hook by any stretch, but this is not as much about DeBoer and Grubb. This, I think, was about what you got on defensively and how a comparable game plan was used against you when you played against Vanderbilt last year, and Vanderbilt was able to do a lot of nice things. And the defense didn't have many answers, and the linebackers were a step slow, and the eye violations defensively were palpable, and guys couldn't make one-on-one plays. When you're unblocked, you can't get the quarterback down. Now, credit to Florida State for sure. There were some good moments by Thomas Castellanos, allowing big 3rd and 11 conversions by throwing it over your head. You're supposed to have the best secondary in the country. Like, those guys should be able to lock down the wide receivers. They should. Like that, they should be able to lock down just about anybody. And we didn't see that because these corners can go. I have full faith in these corners. I really do. They didn't play well in a couple circumstances. So Look, to me the biggest challenge, the biggest problem with that, what I witnessed from the tape this weekend was not the offense; it was the defense. The defense was a problem. Offense had a couple fourth down stops, slightly inaccurate throw on the inside on a 4th and 5 that could have potentially been got if it was a slightly better throw. Things those can be tweaked. That just got to be better situationally, but defensively, Cole, that to me was the side of the ball that has me a little more concerned moving forward, because that was a group that I was hoping would make tremendous strides from year 1 to year 2, at least early on.
I'm more than concerned about it. I have real wonders if it can get back to where it needs to be. And I don't mean to play the comparison game. I've heard a lot of the comparison game the last 48 hours. I'm a little over it. It's not going to be what it was, and it's not that anybody can't replicate or touch what Nick Saban did. It's just college football is not that. It's not that it's not what Saban had. It's not, college football doesn't have that anymore. Guys, Nick Saban invented gray shirting and blue shirting, and he went above and beyond the means of anything that had ever been done before. Well, Bear Bryant did some of the similar things, but I mean, he was so far ahead of everything. You're not going to be able to do some of those things from a roster perspective this day and age. So it's never going to be that. It just isn't. So the comparisons of this many losses at this point or this many favorites of this and what it shouldn't be a real conversation, in my opinion. Offensively, I do think there are a couple of things that were alarming that either weren't adjusted to or weren't expected or weren't seen. But then there are a couple of things that if they don't get it cleaned up, it's not going to get better. Y'all can talk about Ty Simpson all you want, but when you get a 6'6", 260-pound defensive end that gives one inside move very quickly, and all of a sudden he's in your face, I'm not sure what you want him to do. The route hasn't developed. There's not time to get the ball out accurately. There just isn't. And then there's a couple other things I think that I'm curious to see if other teams try to replicate what Florida State did. And that is still an issue. I'll ask Greg about what those things are, how he sees that playing out as we progress through this season right after this on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:52 a.m. right here on Jox. Listen online, joxfm.com, 800-239-9569. If you want to get in, you can text in 205-834-9450. We'll get to your text top of the next hour, but we go back to the Higginbotham hotline now. Visit with Chris in Birmingham, who's been very patient. Chris, welcome into the show.
This auto race isn't snowball. Well, let's start this auto race since I don't feel up to it. Roll Tide, baby. It's good to have college football back, but it also hurts because that was the last headgear we probably might get, unfortunately. Greg, you spoke volumes to what I've been saying about to the Bama faithful as well as about the players. You got to relax, and I've always been on these airways saying to fans and players that saying about the Bama standard. But I said they need to find their standard first. They can't automatically reach heights that other people have in comparison because they got to at least see who they are. Like, this is with the team offensively. People who are blaming Ty, that's illogical because the point of a first-year starter on the road in a hostile environment is to not have him reduce the phone 40-plus times. And they had to abandon the run. You had issues with catching and pre-snap penalties as well as post-snap penalties.
Damn, Chris, you all right?
Sorry, it's my nose, somewhere on my nose. Defensively, what can I say? The effort. Let's see the stuff that kills me, the stuff that kept you on the field, the penalties, the late out of bounds, and worse, the taunting when you're down 7-8 minutes to go in the game. That's not coachable. That's mental. Like, where's the doggone perspective? Where's your damn perspective? Where's the leader on the defense that's going to chew that player out for that unnecessary nonsense? Otherwise, it's just one game. 11 more to go. 11 more to play, and 10. And maybe this game will be the one you need to snap you out of this ego ball you got and bring you back to football.
And I think all of what you said is really fair and really accurate. Where's the dog? Show me the dog. I want to know who on defense is going to emerge as a bona fide killer. Because I played with some. And you know what? You need a tone setter defensively. And collectively, they got to relax. The Bama standard, completely agree with you there. Like, be the best version of you. Don't worry about it. Just because you put on the crimson and white doesn't mean it's, automatically you got to live up to the Bama standard. No, you just be the best version of you. You be as good as you can be. And I think that's what that also is going to take some of the pressure off, man. Like, goodness gracious, this team plays so tight. It plays like they're under so much pressure. And they just don't look like they're having fun ever, man. We're playing a game. Like, let's go have fun. It's the best. Smile and don't play tight. So I think that can be helpful as well. But man, there's a lot to clean up. But hey, I'm not canceling the season. We're gonna find some solutions. I can promise you that.
There are some things offensively that concerned me that I want to ask Greg about. Not as much schematically about what Alabama was doing, but what they were getting and how they saw it. And want to get an idea if he thinks that could continue to be a problem. We'll discuss that. Looking ahead to Louisiana Monroe, personnel-wise, do things need to change? We continue to get your feedback, 800-239-9569. Text in 205-834-9450. You can tweet in at Mac and Cube. All that and more coming up in hour 2 right here on Jox.